Hi, and welcome back to my LMM series. This is video 2 of 15. Today I'll go over how to filter and condense data frames. Just as a quick reminder as to what you should have completed up to this point. In my first video, I showed you how to install the necessary packages to complete this series. Once you have installed the packages, each time you open R, you need to load the libraries. To import Excel files, there's multiple ways to do it, but one of the easiest ways is to set a working directory. So you would use this function here, set WD, and then in parentheses and double quotations, you would enter your file path, or in other words, your breadcrumb trail. I'm working from a project, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, so I don't have to use a working directory. Lastly, we imported Excel files. So to the left of the arrow, the TR and the MR are what I'm calling my data frames, and you can look over in the top right at the environment. In the parentheses and the single quotation are the names of the Excel files that I'm importing. And you can see them down here in the bottom right in my project. And please don't forget to include the .xlsx. So now for video 2 is very brief. I'm just going to show you how to create a subset and to remove any extraneous variables that you might not need. So this subset function here to the direct right of the arrow, this acts like a filter, and it pulls out just the rows and the columns that I want to use based on what the properties that I'm specifying. So everyone has their little quirks when they code. So I use an _F anytime I filter any of my data sets. So as you can see, here's the name of the data frame, MR. And as you can see to the left, I'm creating a new data frame that I'm going to call _F. This variable here is specific to my data set, and I'm filtering it so that only the items in that column that say give response are going to show up. The other one might be more common and something that you'll see in your data set is my trial types are either practice or experimental. And I want to remove all the practice trials. So my variable trial type needs to equal experimental. And just as a reminder, R is very particular. So my experimental in the column of my data frame has a capital E. If I was to put a lowercase e, I'd receive an error. So I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to run it. And as you can see, I have a new data frame, MR_F. And as you can see, the number of observations has significantly decreased. I'm going to do the same thing for my data frame TR. And I'm just removing the trial types that are practice. I only want them to be experimental, so I'm going to run that. And again, the number of observations decreased, though not as much. Now, as you can see, I have several observations. These are the rows, and I have several variables. These are the columns. I'm not working with all of these variables. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to condense my data frame to include only these columns here, or these variables. And these I'll go over as I begin to use them throughout the rest of the video series and the analyses. So again, you can name these data frames whatever you want. So I'm using now my filtered data frame, MR_F, and I'm condensing it. So I'm going to _condensed. So this is going to be another data frame. Now the dplyr function, and I'm using the select here, which is why I have this parenthesis sign and then the little alligator mouth and another parenthesis sign, because I want the dplyr function to use select. And again, I'm just referring to the libraries that I loaded right here. If I didn't use the percentage sign, then I might get a different output because I'll be using a different library. So I'm specifying what library I want to use for this particular function. So I'm going to highlight these two lines of data. These two lines of code. I'm going to run it. And as we can see, now I have 8 variables. So I'm working with 8 columns. I'm going to do the same thing for this other data frame. I'm going to run it. And now I'm working with 10 variables. So that's all I'm going to cover for today. Next time, we're going to talk about checking your data. And this is good to do throughout to make sure that you're not missing any any data or there's any errors in your data.